Hi, Management 210. Dr. O here, glad to be with you again, looking at part 2 of some principles of effective teamwork. So what do you think? Are you saying, oh, Dr. O, are you now advertising for Target? Well, no, that's not what I'm doing. But this short video, maybe a minute and a half or so, expresses that view that I've talked about in the prior video, where sometimes organizations think of themselves as a whole, as a team. And I get that. It's the idea of collaboration and focus and esprit de corps, that sense of positive culture, even if they're not really a small group of people integrated around a limited set of tasks, as we think of workplace teams like that. But some things that really catch my attention in looking at that is that idea of saying thank you, showing appreciation, really a great skill as a supervisor, as a team leader. Now, there's also some talk there about focusing on the customers, caring about the customers, getting the work done. So there's the task focus, but a strong people focus that they see as critical to the function of that organization serving customers, especially in this recent season. So some good stuff happening there. Sometimes there's things that happen in a team that we don't always think are terribly good. Conflict is the word that's on my mind. And it often brings up the idea of something really dysfunctional and terrible, having conflict. Now, by itself, though, conflict can have some really good sides, right? If we don't see things the same way and there's a little bit of tension that arises, we could be on our way to finding a better solution, a better way of doing things, discovering what the other's really thinking when it might not be clear. And there are things that we can do that are quite active or a bit more passive that can contribute to the conflict in a team, either being constructive, leveraging what's happening to come up with something better, or destructive, maybe amplifying the problem or certainly not solving it. On the active side, there are things that can be done, like trying to take perspectives, understand other people's perspectives, work collaboratively for creative solutions, expressing your emotions without letting your emotions carry you away or harm others, reaching out, seeking first to understand before seeking to be understood, like we saw in the 7 Habits. Now, you can be also very active, but not really very well tuned to getting conflict resolved if you focus solely on you individually winning at the expense of the team, or your emotional control is gone. You're just over the top and you run people down, or you have to retaliate, keep score, and get back at others. That's really destructive to the team. Now, passive, here I guess we should maybe just say less active, because there's things that are happening, even if they're more cognitive, intrapersonal versus interpersonal, being reflective to maybe step back when you feel that there is some tension in the team, and give yourself just a little air, a little space to think it through. Sometimes you can delay your response a bit and let things cool down and just consider things. Other times, of course, you have to respond fairly quickly. We know that. Adapting. If a suggestion is made that maybe you didn't come up with, but maybe you're even kind of neutral on it and say, okay, I'm going to adapt to that. Not giving up on something you think would really contribute to the performance of the team. Now, being passive can also be more destructive. That's if there's a conflict that needs to be addressed, but you just avoid it. Or someone suggests something you don't agree with at all, and you just yield and say, oh, okay, whatever. Even if something is important, that has to be addressed. You just hide your emotions entirely. People don't get the signals from you, what's going on, if you just actively hide and even running yourself down all the time, maybe taking blame that's really not yours to carry, so forth. That can be less than helpful. We're going to take a look at a short video that just begins to raise some principles that I think came from a book called Getting to Yes, which is about principle-based or interest-based negotiation that really gives some points of view and some steps to consider to engage with others productively when something needs to be worked through. Some great stuff in that video. Interest-based conflict resolution, used in teams, can be used one-on-one. Personal relationships, workplace relationships, I recommend maybe watching that again and consider learning a little bit more about the idea of principle-based bargaining or getting to yes. Really good tips there. Now, many teams use what's either called a charter or a contract. You might see teams in some organizations where there's a document called a charter that says this is what the project is about, this is who's on it, these are the deliverables, maybe has a time frame in it, which just makes it very clear what the team is to accomplish and a little bit maybe of when it's going to be done and so forth, who's responsible. Sometimes a contract is drawn up by a team, which is an agreement about who's in the team, what the goals are, who's doing what, how's it going to get done. And when I teach this class in person in a regular semester, sometimes in this class and others, I've used a contracting process where you actually put down an agreement about how you're going to get things done and who's doing what, just so it's very clear. It can have a lot of value in slightly formalizing this idea of responsibility and being very clear about steps in the team process. I got very excited about this when I did a project for a company called Bandag. They used to have a facility here in Muscatine. It used to be the headquarters. The company has since actually was bought by a huge tire company called Bridgestone. But when Bandag was doing some changing in the manufacturing facility down there on Route 61 in Muscatine, there was a real change towards more self-managed or at least self-directed teams rather than boss says, you do. Some more decision-making, some more responsibility for how things are handled and so forth, while still needing to make a very good product. And one of the elements they used was this contracting piece. And I remember seeing the notebook. I think I might even still have a copy, or I might have one of those notebooks still, that is a set of agreements that everyone on the group literally physically signed, just saying, well, we're agreeing on how we're going to work together and use this as a way to leverage success. So there's just a few more perspectives on managing teams effectively. I hope it's been helpful to you and that it's gives you some context for other things we're looking at, talking about, and reading about teams. Hope you have a great rest of your week. We'll talk to you again soon.